What is going on, guys? It's your boy Stab, and today we are back with Stab League Season 3 action kicking off. Hope you guys are excited as I am. Ready to get back into things. It's been a long time. I think the season ended in early September, so it's been a few months. We're actually taking over where we left off, and by that I mean our opponent for week 1 is actually JMarshadow, aka Jim of the Carolina Hurricanes here. We actually defeated him in the championship. If you didn't want to hear that, you probably should have paused and gone into La La Land while I went over that, but it is what it is, and yeah, we're a rematch of the championship. So Jim is a very scary team this season. One of his better drafts, I do believe. I felt like he was more comfortable drafting, and him and the other members of the Stab League as well, but especially him. I felt like he built a pretty strong team this season, and we're gonna go ahead and get into that, which includes Mega Metagross, Rayquaza, Tapu Bulu, Zero Aura, which is a new one, Heatran, Alolan Muck, Buzzwole, Primarina, and Powdon, Kamala, and Mimikyu. Now, as you may have heard there, we do allow Ubers this season. Everybody got one gold tier and one silver tier, like I mentioned in my draft analysis. If you don't know what my team is, I'll leave the link to the draft analysis in the description. You will see the 6 I brought today, obviously, but I do have some other mods as well. Gym Z users, real quick, are Tapu Bulu and Heatran. Pretty significantly strong for his team. Luckily for us, he did not actually choose to make requests as his Z user, so we don't have to worry about Z Dragon Ascents or anything dumb like that. Couple of things to note about Jim's team before we jump into it. We've got the fact that his highest speed tier is actually Zero Aura and Mega Metagross. That helps us out quite a bit just because Zero Aura is faster than everything non-scarfed in the game. So in terms of prep and speed tiers and all that, we only had to worry about the base 110 in Mega Metagross, because then from there it drops down to Rayquaza at 95, I believe. And then everything else is, you know, base 80 and below. So pretty slow team. Also, some significant things as far as matchup from our team is that Jim doesn't do well with fighting attacks. He's very very limited switch-ins to fighting moves. He's also very weak to ground and very weak to poison. And then secondary typing wise, he is pretty weak to psychic and ice. You'll see us take advantage of those matchups in just a little bit here. I did bring a team of 6 that I felt dealt well with pretty much all of his team. There are several threats that we do have to be careful of, and I'll mention those as we go along. Give me 1 second here and we'll flip over to the team builder and see what we're taking into week 1 of season 3. Here we go. Okay guys, we're here with the 6 of week 1. Very threatening team, like I mentioned for Jim's part, but I think we have a pretty good team to take it on. Leading off, I noticed right away that his biggest weakness was to the boy Mewtwo. Everything is weak to Mewtwo, but obviously Mewtwo X is a pretty significant threat in this matchup just because his dual stab of Drain Punch and Zen Headbutt do very well with everything on Jim's team. The only thing that Ice Punch is really there for is to make sure that we do well with Hippo. A physically defensive Hippo is something that's a very big threat to our team. We don't have a lot of ways to deal with it right off the bat. It can get rocks up for free, and while our team, as you see, is not very weak to rocks, repeated switch-ins and kind of pivoting around and just getting that chip damage is annoying. So we gotta do our best to prevent rocks today, and I feel like Ice Punch on Mewtwo is one of the ways we can do it. Zen Headbutt mainly for Buzzwole, but pretty much a just a check to everything that's not Mega Metagross, and then Mega Metagross, of course, we've got the Drain Punch. For EV-wise, we're running Adamant Nature just because Jim's team is really slow. We only have to worry about those base 110s, and Mewtwo actually outspeeds up to base 113 as a neutral nature, having that 130 base speed. So 220 enough to hit that 351, outpacing the Metagross. Defensively, we have 96 EVs in HP and 36 in defense. Accomplishes 2 main things. Number 1, we are not 3-hit KO'd by any variant of Buzzwole's Leech Life, assuming that it's not a attack boosting item. So Life Orb and, you know, Choice Band, obviously those are going to be threats, but if he brings like a bulkier kind of bulk up set, then I'm pretty much expecting if he were to have Buzzwole. we should be okay against that. Also, at +1, we are able to deal with a Play Rough and plus a Shadow Sneak and live that from an Adamant Life Form Mimikyu, so that's nice. 156 attack doesn't sound like a whole lot. It's just enough to make sure we 2-hit KO Mega Metagross running pretty significant amount of HP. I think I clocked it at 144 investment. As you'll see, 156 not a high amount of attack investment. However, then you see that big bold number, the 5 with the 2 zeros. So a moderate amount of attack investment gets us 500 attack with Adamant Mewtwo, so that's going to be very strong today. Mewtwo, like I said, big win con, but the main thing about Jim's team is we got to take advantage of the speed difference. So the fact that our team is a lot faster, we need ways to get Mewtwo in safely so it can set up bulk ups and it can get revenge kills if it needs to. And the easiest way to do that today is actually to go with our Magearna. Now, you guys remember how much work Magearna put in last season? Is more of a, a setup sweeper and a threat. It can still do that, but it has a pretty different role today in the fact that it's just there to take some hits and then get momentum for Mega Mewtwo. So Assault Vest variant, just for some survivability, takes on Primarina really, really well. Primarina is actually another one of those dark horse threats that we don't have much for face value wise. I'm not bringing Thundurus today. I'm not bringing Dhelmise to get some power ups off on it, but this is how we're going to deal with it. Defensively, this checks pretty well, and we can use our Volt Switch to get some momentum. Aura Spear pretty much there to hit things like Kamala and to make sure we're not walled by Mega Metagross. Flash Cannon does pretty well against this team, including checking Mimikyu, breaking the disguise on that, and then Dazzling Gleam just to make sure we're not set up fodder for Rayquaza. Max HP, damn near max anyway, 36 in defense, just to guarantee us the ability to survive an Earthquake from either Rayquaza or Mega Metagross. Now special attack to make sure we knock out Rayquaza after rocks, and then a little bit in speed just to make sure that creep on the things like Hippowdon that might, try to outspeed, mid-speed Magearna. So that's pretty much Magearna's role today, and then yeah, of course, Modest Nature to hit as hard as possible. I looked at that core; it was a really nice core. It kind of didn't have much outside of Mewtwo Ice Punch to deal with either Primarina or, to a lesser extent, the potential top of Bulu. So we're bringing Hi Mama Jolt coming here today to support, her favorite child, and bringing Groundium Z. Z Scolipede does, it improves Scolipede a lot. Now, as you remember from last season, we mainly used Scolipede as a baton passer. It can still do that. We did bring it offensively for a couple of games as well. But the biggest thing about having the capability to use Z moves this season is it becomes a more powerful breaker. Pretty simple set running with the max attack, Jelly Nature, just enough speed to outspeed again Mega Metagross. Mega Metagross is really the only thing we have to worry about. It also potentially checks an agility variant. Real quick on Mega Metagross, big threat. We've actually had it before in the PBA. It was a nice Pokemon. It was a really big threat that I felt like people really concentrated their prep on. The problem is its floor slot move syndrome that everybody talks about on the ladder is, in my opinion, a bit more significant in draft format, because you always want to run, you always want your 4 moves that are best possible to check things. But however, because your opponent also knows to prepare for Mega Metagross, it can run Scarfist and things like that. As far as what gym we might see from him this week, I feel like because of the speed discrepancy, he might bring either Rock Polish or an agility variant. Then he needs probably Ice Punch to deal with by Latias. He probably needs Earthquake to deal with things like Magearna and the Scolipede we see on the screen here. And then it's kind of a toss-up. He could bring Zen Headbutt to deal with my Conkelder. He could bring Bullet Punch if he feels like he doesn't have, you know, enough priority on his team to check some of my faster threats. But the biggest thing is going to be that if he does all that, he doesn't really have a way to deal with my Vaporeon offensively. So, you know, he's lacking that Thunder Punch. So, you know, he has to. The point is, he has to choose between 4 moves, and I think one of them will definitely be some sort of setup, more than likely a Rock Polish variant. But if we can limit the Mega Metagross, I think we'll be okay. However, continuing on, we are bringing Swords Dance variant Scolipede. Just 3 moves that do the best against this team, being the Poison Jab to check the Primarina and the top of Bulu, Rock Slide to make sure we're not walled by not Necrozma, but Rayquaza, and then Stopping Tantrum. Stopping Tantrum is actually really cool because, unlike Earthquake, it's not affected by Bulu's grassy terrain, so it's not weakened at all, and it's really only 25 base power, 25 base power weaker than normal Earthquake. So a bit of a power drop off, but not as much considering when you consider we have both Roundium Z, the Z move, and Swords Dance as a way to boost our attack. Now, this is off attack investment with a, you know, it's obviously max attack, but it's pretty crucial just because unboosted Roundium Z is gets off over half on Mega Metagross, and then if we're able to get a Swords Dance up, we're able to OHKO that pretty easily. Like I said, Rock Slide mainly there to check Rayquaza. Also, late game, if this is still alive, it can put in a lot of work because it really only needs Buzzwole either weakened or gone to put in a lot of work. And then maybe Hippowdon as well. It doesn't do well with Hippowdon, obviously, so we do have to watch out for that. Now we move into kind of more the defensive core. We're bringing physically defensive Arcanine this week. Really no speed investment at all. I really just need the bulk to be around. This is mainly to check things like Buzzwole. It could take a hit from... It can take a hit from Zero Aura, it can take a hit from Heatran, obviously. It can take a hit from Mega Metagross. Our coverage options on Arcanine actually reflect that in the fact that Flamethrower hits most of his team outside of Primarina and his Heatran. He doesn't really have a resist to Flamethrower, so it's pretty free against most of his team. Hidden Power Ground is solely for the potential Heatran switch-in. Even if he's a Spadefran, he still... believe gets 2 KO'd after rocks, so that's really nice. Will-O-Wisp is named in there to burn things like Rayquaza and a potential bulk up Buzzwole, and then we have Morning Sun right there just to be able to you know, add to our longevity and, you know, recover health if we need to. Moving on, we have a shout out to Maddie Brawlick H2. Hopefully I did a good job. If I didn't, Maddie, I'm sorry. I tried. Again, physically defensive because the majority of Chim's threats are actually defensive. Does a really nice job checking Mega Metagross, among other things. I'm slightly concerned that it's walled by Primarina, but I think we have enough to deal with that. Ice Beam, Wish, Protect, Scald. Basically, this set is meant to not only pass Witches into potentially Scolipede if needed, but also to keep our own Vaporeon pretty healthy. Initially, this was Scald and then Haze to check a more setup-based Mega Metagross. However, I realized without Ice Beam, we're kind of walled by setup Rayquaza and can get potentially swept if we're able to give it kind of a setup plotter opportunity. So we do have Ice Beam there, easy to hit KO on that. It might even die after rocks. Vaporeon is not weak. I think that's something that people overlook sometimes. That base 110 special attack does really well for it offensively. So, last but not least, the last thing I needed was I need some sort of hazard pressure. Jim really doesn't have a lot in the way of hazard removal. Kamala might not even come this week just because I do have things like Mega Metagross, Mega Mewtwo, and Scolipede that's set up on that pretty easily. But just in case, we do have Killer Croc, the Crocodile, Life Orb set, Stealth Rocks to get those rocks up, Knockoff, Sludge Bomb, and Stomping Tantrum. And as you notice, I said Sludge Bomb, and if you look at our set here of 144 attack, 180 special attack,
and 184 speed with a naive nature. We do have enough special attack investment to guarantee Oko most variants of Tapu Bulu and all variants after rocks. Knockoff's just really nice, dark stab, really nice utility. Get rid of some items. Potentially check a Choice Scarf variant of Rayquaza. That's something that I feel like could happen. Sludge Bomb, like I said, almost exclusively for Tapu Bulu. It actually is our best way to hit Buzzwole as well. It does about 30 to 35% on that, so if we can get a poison, we can wear that down pretty easily. Also does a pretty significant amount of damage to a Primarina. Last but not least, we do have the Tomping Tantrum, the Earthquake, the Ground Stab to help out there. Really, it should be a relatively simple game. Basically, we're going to lead off with this, get up rocks on the things that threaten us, and get up rocks on things that aren't threats to us, like a potential lead Zero Aura. I don't feel like he would go for the potential close combat. I know it gets close combat to check this, but I don't feel like he would make that move turn 1. So we can get up rocks pretty easily there. We can weaken Hippowdon, which is a massive threat. Against potential Heatran lead, we'll go right for the Stomping Tantrum. But really, if he doesn't bring either of his hazard setters, I don't think Heatran's very likely, just because, you know, it does provide setup opportunities and it is checked pretty well by the majority of my team. But I feel like the hazard removal, and like I've mentioned 6 times in this video, Hippowdon is a very big defensive threat for us, so we have to watch out for that. Other than that, I feel like the Intimidate core of Crocodile and Daddy Dingo, the Arcanine, is going to put in a lot of work this week. I feel pretty good about Mewtwo, and I feel pretty good about Scoliped's ability to break. Yeah, that's basically it. I am expecting a team of Mega Metagross, Rayquaza, Hippowdon, Zero Aura, and then the last 2 are kind of toss-ups. There is a lot of things he could bring. If he feels like hazards are a issue to his team, he could bring Kamala. He could also bring the Alolan Muck to kind of check my McGurna decently well, although I do have offensive responses for Alolan Muck, so maybe not. Also potentially checks Mewtwo decently, so Alolan Muck is definitely something that I could think of him possibly bringing, and then like I said, the Primarina. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. Again, lead off with Crocodile and just kind of go from there, aim to sweep with Mewtwo, weaken things with Scolipede. Hopefully we're able to grab the win and start off the new season 1-0. If you guys enjoyed my team building, you can leave a like, leave a comment if you so desire, and subscribe if you're not. Anyway guys, I'm Stab, and I'm out.